Hello, I'm Jocko 3X, and I'm your host of Truth and Innocence. Today, I am sitting with
Marcellous Pittman.
Marcellous Pittman. It's nice to see you here today.
Same here.
Let's talk about Marcellous Pittman.
Okay.
Marcellous, how old are you?
41 years old.
What type of kid were you growing up?
A very funny, helpful kid. I always want to help and I always want to make people laugh. I always wanted to be like two of my uncles since I was a kid. Yes, I remember my grandma always tell me I act just like my uncles.
What type of teenager were you?
I was a teenager basically trying to find myself, figure out where I fit in life. I was very athletic. I was always involved in sports, very good at sports, but I also want to know how can I contribute to things.
Like what? What did you want to contribute to?
Work and help make people happy and things like that.
So you wanted to contribute to society?
Society, correct.
At a very young age?
At a young age. I think it just, one thing about me, I know that it's a good feeling to help. I always felt that way. It was a good feeling to help. I think it came from me going through the situations I went through with my mother and siblings at a young age. I was forced, me and my oldest brother, we was forced to be adults and do adult things. So helping and contributing is like something I always like to do.
How many siblings do you have?
I have a mother of 11, got 10 living. I'm the second oldest.
The second oldest. So you're a teenager. How old were you when you were falsely accused of committing the crime of attempted murder?
I was 18 years old, just turned 18.
What year did that occur?
2001.
Did the police arrest you? How did you end up in the custody of the police? Excuse me. What exactly were you charged with?
I was charged with attempted first-degree murder of a Chicago police officer.
And how did you end up in custody, being charged with that?
Well, one day I was getting my brothers up to go to school, and I seen on the news that I was wanted for questioning. So I did the right thing to go to the police station and try to clear my name up of this matter.
Wow. And that's where the journey began.
That's where my journey began.
So you're saying, hey, I didn't do this, but I'm going to go down here. I'm going to tell them my side of whatever is going on, and they'll understand, but that's not how it went.
No, that's not how it went. I really thought that me being innocent and me telling the truth was going to get them to believe me and, okay, you go home. You had nothing to do with this.
And that's exactly what you believe.
That's what I believe.
But it turned into something
totally. It turned into a nightmare.
So that day, what happened once they had you in custody? What happened from that point on?
From November 1st, 2001 to December 8th, 2020, I was in custody for that crime. So.
Did you have a bond?
Yes, I had a bond, a very high bond.
How much was the bond?
I don't remember, but it was very high.
A bond that you couldn't make?
A bond couldn't make at the time.
And that was highly based off of what you were charged with?
Yes.
So now you're in the county jail?
Yes.
What were your thoughts on your way to the county jail? Because I'm sure, no one wants to be in a place like that. What were your thoughts, knowing that now I'm on my way to the county jail?
Why I'm going there? I didn't do nothing. Why is I'm going here? I was supposed to be walking now. I ain't supposed to be cuffed up on no paddy wagon going to no county jail. That was my mind, nervous, didn't know what to expect.
And once you got into county jail, now you're in the county jail. So it's a different thought versus I'm on my way to the county jail.
Yes.
So what was your state of mind once you entered the county jail?
I was shocked. I was drained. I was like nervous. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. Felt out of place. It just, I ain't had no business being there.
And now you're away from family.
That tore me up, especially being away from my grandma.
Your grandmother. You had a strong bond with your grandmother?
Yes, my grandma was my everything. That was my therapist, my counselor, my advisor, my savior. She was everything. Whatever you can name, that was my grandmother.
And every step of the way, she was there for you.
Every step of the way.
So now you're in the county jail. You got to get your mind focused on this charge.
Yes.
Now you got to prepare yourself to fight it.
Something I did not do. And another thing, it was kind of hard to fight something that you know you didn't do, because I didn't know how to attack it, because I didn't do anything. I didn't know how to attack it, what to attack, because I didn't know what to expect or anything like that.
So you were just kind of just floating around in your mind.
Yes.
You didn't know what angle, no nothing.
Yes.
So you're saying, hey, I'm accused of this serious crime. I don't know what to do.
Right.
So how did you come to become like rooted to the point where it's like, now I need to fight this? How did that come about?
I think all that came about when I had a conversation with my grandmother. Like, she always told me, don't give them what they want. And what they wanted was for you to give up. Don't do that. You didn't do this. You had nothing to do with this. So you fight and act like an innocent man the whole way. An innocent person the whole way.
But during the beginning of that fight, I'm sure there was a lot of moments where you were just exhausted.
Yeah, I was exhausted because I'd never been through anything like this. And all this stuff was foreign to me. Law was foreign to me, and the environment was foreign to me. The whole procedure, the whole experience was foreign to me. I didn't know what to do. I'd never been through anything like it because I was never taught to prepare myself for anything like that.
So now, preparation for trial. From the time you were charged, how long did it take for you to start the trial?
4 years.
4 years. Were you found guilty, or did they try to offer you a deal?
At first, before trial, they offered me a deal, and I turned it down because I'm innocent. I'm not taking no time for something I didn't do.
What was the deal they offered you?
45 years.
45 years. And like you said, you turned that down.
Yes.
So once you turn that down, now it's time to proceed with the trial.
Yes, see what they have.
What happened during the trial?
Well, put it like this. They failed to link me and the crime together, but they did have police officers and non-police officers come up in there, and I don't know why they did say it was me when they had anything, but I fought and I was found guilty. And I didn't understand why I was guilty of something I didn't do. It's something I had nothing, and they don't have any evidence or anything.
So you're sitting there listening to these individuals outright lie.
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
It bothers you because like it's nothing you can do. It's like you can't defend yourself the way you want to defend yourself because they gonna use that against you. It's like you just gotta sit there and take it. Like the lies and stuff. It's like that's one thing about me. I hate when a person lie on me, and I just have to accept it because if I would have reacted or did anything, they would always see what we dealing with. This the type of guy he is.
So you're sitting there, the courtroom, those affiliated with the courts, they're lying on you.
Yes.
Were there civilians in the courtroom lying on you?
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand. I was like dumbfounded, like, what the heck?
So you have those who are appointed to the court and civilians,
Yes.
basically, would you say beating you up?
Right. And there's nothing I can do. I can't fight back.
So now you were found guilty.
Yes.
So now you're found guilty, and at some point you have to go for your sentencing.
Yes.
The day you go for sentencing, what were you sentenced to?
I was sentenced to 80 years in the IDOC
That's a large number.
for an innocent person, a young innocent person.
And how old were you at the time?
I got sentenced when I was 22 years old.
So when you heard the word 80, what were your thoughts?
Everything went blank. Everything went dark. Because that's a long time for an innocent person. Even though I was mentally drained and mentally stripped and mentally defeated, I felt like they was really doing any and everything to eliminate me. The lies and all that stuff.
80 years is a lot of, I can't count that far. So I can only imagine. And again, you had to pull yourself up.
Yes.
But how were you able to develop strength, enough strength to deal with that number? Because that's something totally in itself, its own entity.
I had to do something that I didn't want to do, but I knew it had to be done in order for me to stay focused and maintain my sanity and stay stress-free and worry-free. I had to program my mind to believe that nothing outside of where I was housed at the time, or nothing outside of these walls and gates exists. And that really bothered me because my grandma been in my life all my life, and I had to program my mind to believe that she don't exist anymore. I don't have anything out there to go to. Everything is here, so focus on what's going on here.
So could you explain to the viewers and the listeners 80 years? How do you do that type of time? How do they?
In Illinois, you got a percentage thing. You have 50% and 85%. So if they would have sent, I was sentenced to 80 years. If I would have had to do 50% of 80 years, that 80 get knocked down to 40, and you would have had to knock off the time I did in the county jail. So that means I would have did 36 years. Now, I did 80 at 85%, which would get knocked down to like 63 years. And now you knock that 4 years off, I would have had to do 59 years.
But because of the seriousness of your crime, you were sentenced under the 85%?
Yes.
What did that do to you mentally? Because that's a lot of numbers to be calculating.
It broke me.
And thank you for your honesty.
It shredded it, bro. I said I would never talk about this, I promised my grandma I would never talk about this. Well, she made me promise that I would never talk about this, but it was a time when I called my grandma and we was talking, and like I said, my grandma know me, and she know when something is bothering me. And she asked me what is wrong, and I told her what was wrong. And I told her like, I'm not finna do no 80. I'm not finna do no 80 years. And she like, what do you mean not doing no 80 years? I'm like, I was thinking about committing suicide. A lot of people don't know that. I was thinking about committing suicide. My grandma cried, and she was like, don't do nothing. Don't do this. Talk to me. Don't do nothing. I need to look in your eyes. That's exactly what she told me. I need to look in your eyes. And probably like a couple of days, I was in Menard at the time. And probably like a couple of days later, my grandma came and visited me. And when she looked me in my eyes, she didn't hug me or anything when she first seen me. She looked me in my eyes and said, I love you. And that broke me down. And that's all she kept on saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And she said, and she always told me, an angel gonna come to you. God gonna send you an angel. God gonna send you an angel. And she promised me, and one thing I didn't want to do was hurt my grandma, but she promised me, don't do anything, because God gonna send you an angel. I pray and all that. So 2017, that's when God sent my angel to me. And my angel go by name Julia Rickard. And when I talked, the first time I talked to Julia Rickard, I just knew the words that she used, her tone, the way she listened to me, the way she broke things down. Not only that, she did something I never had a chance to do. Now let's think about this. I was charged with this crime in 2001. I met Julia Rickard in 2017, so that's 16 years. She gave me an opportunity to do something that they wouldn't let me do in a courtroom, they wouldn't let me do in a police station. She gave me an opportunity to tell the truth and hear my side of the story. And when she heard my side of the story, that's when I knew that she believed me. I finally got somebody to believe me, and that's when it hit me like, that's my angel right there. And I told my grandma about it. My grandma told me like, well, you got your angel, you coming home. But we didn't know when I was coming home. But because of Julia Rickard, I'm sitting here right now and not sitting in there.
So the angel comes. But before the angel came, you still had to deal with what you had to deal with.
Yes, I still had to deal with what I didn't deal with.
And that's being incarcerated. So you go from, you got your time, they send you from the courtroom the day you were sentenced, they send you back to your living unit.
Yes.
What happens then? Because now you have your time.
Yeah, I have my time. They send me back to the living unit, and remember, I'm still shocked. Out of my mind, I'm spaced out. They put me in my. They had everybody in the day room, but they put me in my cell, and I need to get on the phone, and probably like a couple of hours later, minutes later, something like that, officers come to my cell. See, back then, when you get sentenced, they send some psych people to come and talk to you, see where your mind stayed at. And officers come to my cell, they cuffed me up, and they took me downstairs, put me in like a suicide watch cell till I see a psych doctor. And, you know, they questioned me and stuff, and the psych doctor was like, well, I think he okay. He's not suicidal or anything like that. Sent him back to the cell. So, and what was odd about that, because the amount of time it was, they came right away. If I was like 10, 15 years, they would have came probably like the next day or 2 days later.
Now, technically, they're saying you're ready to be shipped off.
Yes,
So you go from the county jail, and now they're going to take you from the county jail to receiving
yes,
in preparation to decide what prison you're going to start your time in.
correct.
So what was the process? The receiving, where was that located?
The receiver, I was located in Stateville called NRC.
So while you're in receiving, you were not in general population.
No, I was 24 hours locked down.
Could you tell the viewers and the listeners what that means?
24 hours locked down because of the crime I had and the time I had. They put me on, I couldn't be in general population. So that means 24 hours locked down, I'm in the cell 24 hours. Only time I come out the cell is to shower.
Now, you're a young man, you're in a cell for 24 hours. That is totally new to not just your mind, but your body, your soul, and your heart.
Correct.
That is almost the epitome of the ultimate block of freedom, meaning it just stunt your movement.
Right.
How did you deal with not being able to just get up and say, hey, you know what, I feel like walking out of the cell and go down the gallery? What did that do to you, not being able to get up and just walk around?
It limited me as a human being. It kind of like, it got to me because all this is being stripped away from me. I felt less of a human being. It messed me up because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. It messed you up mentally.
So in the course of it affecting you the way it did, again, where did you get the strength from to say, hey, I'm not going to be a failure. I have to succeed. I have to get out of this place?
My grandmother.
Again, your grandmother.
My grandma's my everything. That's my therapist. That was my counselor. That was my advisor.
How long were you in receiving?
2 weeks.
So after 2 weeks, do you go into general population in Stateville, or do they ship you off to another facility?
They shipped me out to another facility. They sent me to one of the worst prisons in Illinois, the racist prison in Illinois, and the most secure prison in Illinois. They sent me to Menard Correctional Center.
So you're taking that long bus ride from Stateville to Menard.
Yes.
Can you tell the viewers and the listeners how long that ride is?
It felt like forever, because in a way, I'm still kind of messed up that I'm here. I was there.
So now you pull up now you're at Menard Prison.
Yeah, big old, it looked like a castle. It looked just like a castle. You pull up to the wall. It's a brick wall, literally a brick wall, because it's in a pit, and it's like a brick wall. And it's crazy because when you pull up to the wall, the big old like brick wall just slide open. You hear it making all that noise slide because, you gotta think about it, this is a maximum security, and that door don't really open that much like that. So that's why it's making a lot of noise. That door probably haven't been open probably like 2-3 years before I got there. And they just closed the door back. And once you in there, it's like an old western town, a town within the town.
Wow. And what were your thoughts when you saw that place?
I was kind of nervous, but at the same time, I had to understand, like, I have to make this work for me. What I mean, I had to make this work for me. I can't be thinking about the bad and stuff like that. I have to do what I got to do to prove my innocence. So at the same time, you couldn't really do that up in there.
What do you feel was your biggest obstacle once you entered Menard?
Once I entered Menard, my biggest obstacle, I'd say the system was my biggest obstacle.
How so?
no one, the people that had these positions was the biggest obstacle because no one wanted to hear, no one wanted to do that job. Nobody wanted to do that job. Nobody didn't want to give me the chance to hear what happened. Nobody came and asked me what happened, but one person,
Who was that?
Julia Ricker.
How? Let's speed up for a moment. How did you first get to know Julia?
What happened was I filed this motion.
Excuse me. Could you explain to the viewers and the listeners what a motion is?
A motion is like a petition to get back in court to get them. It's all types of motion. It's all, you can have motion on anything, but a motion is a petition of the courts to hear you out or reconsider things or go over evidence. I filed the motion and it was denied. Then I appealed the motion. And when I appealed the motion, somehow it got to Julia Rickard. And Julia, she seen the motion, she read the motion, and she said to herself, like, hold up. This guy broke this motion up, and he wrote this motion up better than some lawyers that she know. And she like, when she seen the motion, that's how, and she went over and she like, hold up, this guy's innocent. And that's how I met Julia. She called me one day and we was talking. She just the words that she used, she asked me, tell me what happened. And when I told her what happened, I explained what happened, not one time did she interrupt me. She just let me talk.
Now, let's back up a little bit because there was a strong journey before you even got to that.
Yes.
Now, again, you're in the belly of the beast. You have to be strong. We're talking about a maximum security facility.
I see so much.
Exactly. All kind of crazy stuff going on. You have to deal with that. You have to be on point. You have to stay safe to the best of your ability. But again, you're developing your strength.
Right.
Mentally and physically. So what made you say, hey, I have got to keep moving forward?
My grandmother and a guy named, we called him Edward here, but his name was James Edward. He was a cellmate of mine. Don't get me wrong, I was doing what I had to do to survive up in there. I don't care, I'm not gonna let nobody hurt me or anything like that. But one day we went on lockdown and it was like, that was like his opportunity to talk to me. He sat me down and talked to me like a father's supposed to talk to his son. And it was different because I'm hearing these same words from my grandmother. But remember, I had to program my mind to believe that nothing outside of it exists. So he sat me down and he basically was saying the same thing my grandma was telling me. And I was like, hold on, I need to get it together, man. You need to focus a little bit harder and get on your P's and Q's. And that's what I did. I taught myself how to read law. I taught myself how to write motions. I taught myself words that they use. I did everything I had to do to prove that I was innocent, to prove that they have the wrong guy for this crime.
Now, innocence in an individual knowing their innocence, that's a different type of strength.
Yes.
That is rarely spoken about.
Yes.
Is there anything that you could compare that strength to?
No.
It's its own.
That's just that's in the category of when you know you're innocent, you know you don't have no business being here. That's because you have to understand. Me personally, I think like people that know that they did it and know that they guilty, they kind of relax. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I did. I'm gonna go ahead and get this over with. But a person that innocent and trying to prove they're innocent and they know they don't have the bit, they always moving. They always move. They gonna drain themselves. They gonna drain themselves, but you can't stop. You can't stop. I went nights not sleeping and typing and stuff like that. I was so determined to prove because I didn't have no business being there.
Now Menard is a different type of facility. How much access did you have to Menard's law library?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Once a week.
How long?
Probably like, you'll be in there like an hour.
And did you come to find out and meet other individuals who you felt were also innocent?
Yes, because you become like each other counselors.
And would you say that was
when I mean we got counselors like a therapist to you got always gonna have guys like, man, he always in this law library, man. He always in this law library. Let me see. That's how we grow. And you know, some guys be needing other people to talk to, and they just get to talking and stuff like that. And that's how you go. You be like, hold on, this guy's innocent. This guy's innocent.
So did you guys come to realize and understand that was its own big community?
Yes.
A community full of innocent individuals.
Yes, in jail. And just, it's still some in there. There's still some in there.
So, did you serve your entire time in Menard?
No, I was always a certain amount of years here. Basically, what I was doing is, as the years go, I was getting my security levels being lower as years go. That's because I was chipping away. I was doing the time that I had to do, so my security level would go low. So that means I have more access and I'm not so restricted or anything like that.
At some point, that 80 years became less. Not because you were incarcerated doing time off the 80, but through the system, it became less. How much time did
it went from 80 years to 30 years.
Can you explain to the viewers and the listeners how that came about?
A motion was filed by this attorney I had at the time, and basically the courts agreed about me being sentenced the way I was sentenced, and things are very questionable with the case. Instead of them, we was hoping they just throw the whole thing out. If it's questionable, throw the whole thing out. They just reduce the time to 30 years.
So now you go from 80 to 30. How much time do you supposed to do off of that 30?
That 30 would be at 85%.
Okay, because of the seriousness of the crime.
Because of the seriousness of the crime.
So now you're saying to yourself, I'm getting closer to the outside world.
Right.
How did you feel about that?
It was mixed because I'm getting closer to the outside world, but I'm innocent. I don't want this on my name because I didn't do it.
So you continue to fight?
I continue to fight. I don't care how close I get. I don't care if I had 2 days left. I don't care if I was home. I'm still gonna fight to get that off my name because that's what an innocent person do.
So now you're fighting, but you weren't satisfied with that 30.
No.
You wanted it to be 0.
I wanted to be 0 and I wanted to be exonerated.
Exactly. Fully understandable. So now you're going from 30. What year was that?
March 2010.
But I know you want to come home. I understand. You're getting closer.
Yes.
But you want to be free.
I want to be free.
Free, free, free.
You have no restriction to anything. You do what I want. Same thing I came in with, I wanted to leave with.
What year did you eventually come home?
I came home December 8th, 2020.
Were you still fighting?
Yes. I was when I came home, even though they let me out of jail, I was still a ward of the state. What that means is, if something happened, I go straight to the penitentiary. I was on something called parole. Parole is basically like, it's like a test thing. Okay, we're gonna let you out, but if you do anything, you're gonna come back. You're gonna finish that time out. The thing is, I never supposed to have been on parole, but I had to do it because that's how the system was. So that means even though I was a free man, if something would have happened, I would have went to jail for whatever that was. So that's like if I have any type of contact with a victim or police or stuff like that, because I did have what's the word? Stipulations on my parole. One of my parole stipulations was I can't have contact with witnesses, I can't have contact with the victim, which was an officer, and I can't have contact with Chicago police. Just think about that.
That's a lot.
A stipulation is I can't have contact with Chicago police. Let me tell you something, how paranoid I was one time. I was involved in a hit and run. Somebody T-boned me. And when you're involved in a hit and run, somebody T-boned you, what you have to do? You have to call the police. I did not call the police first. The first person I called was my lawyer because one of my stipulations was I can't have any contact with the police. And she was on the phone with me the whole time. But good thing I had a officer that understood. Because he told me, like, man, listen, I see what's on there, but you got to understand, you're the victim here. That's why I kind of respect him for that. Because he was like, you're the victim. You didn't do nothing wrong, but I see what's on that computer. I see what that computer say. But like I said, you called, you the victim. You did what you're supposed to do. Now, just think about this. If I didn't call the police or anything like that, I would have got in trouble, even though I was the victim. So it was like, that's the type of thing that they threw on that for me. But I'm good.
So you walking around with even more pressure on you.
Yeah, eggshells. On eggshells. Then you want to turn around wrong.
So now you're on parole, but there's a tricky thing going on. You're on parole, but you're still preparing for trial.
Right.
To clear your name 110%.
Correct.
Can you explain to the viewers and the listeners exactly what that entails?
Well, I was going to be exonerated to clear my name. And we went to trial for that. But I think it was a little bit less stressful and stuff because right now I don't have any type of restrictions and I can move and come. Everything is easier. But it was, I put it like this. I wasn't that nervous as I was when I was in there because, like I say, my attorney at the time, Julia Rickard, gave me that confidence. She gave me that confidence back. Yeah.
That's powerful to have that. Given all what you went through, that journey. So at some point during this trial, this new trial, you were found innocent.
Correct.
How did you feel?
Liberated.
Did it give you a level of newfound strength?
Yes, but I wasn't satisfied.
Why?
Because the people who did this to me is still out there walking, living their lives, even though they committed a crime. They committed a crime, and they was proven to commit a crime, but they still out there. That's why I think I'd never be satisfied. I don't care how much money or whatever, whatever. I think I would never be satisfied until those people who done me wrong go through the same thing I went through.
So you were found innocent in the same court system
that found me guilty.
How did that feel?
It felt good because the right people was in the right positions. Back then, the wrong people was in the The wrong people was in position. This time, the right people were in the right position.
So, was it a jury trial or a bench trial?
It was a jury trial last time. The first time was jury trial, but it was a lot of it was things that was said and happened that never supposed to took place.
Meaning you were never supposed to have been charged with that crime.
I never supposed to be charged with that crime. Don't nobody know why, and hopefully we will find out why my name came up.
So now you're dealing with a new trial. You're not in prison, but you still got that 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But one day they say, hey, basically, you're found innocent.
Yes.
So then you receive something that's called a certificate of innocence.
Yes.
Can you explain to the viewers and the listeners what that is?
A certificate of innocence is basically like an award from the courts signed by a judge, it's basically saying that this person should never ever been convicted, should never have been charged and convicted of this crime. So if I go for a job or something, a federal job or something, and they pop up, they be like, well, right here it said you was convicted of, then I can show them the certificate of innocence, and they can be like, okay. The certificate of innocence would let them know, like, it was a mistake made, this guy never supposed to be charged and convicted of this crime.
Before we in this conversation, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you like to share with the viewers and the listeners as to it pertains to you, an individual being accused of a crime they did not commit? How should they conduct themselves?
First, like I say, back then I felt like I didn't do the way I did things. Was it wrong because I believed in the system? I believed in the truth will help me. But I went in without a lawyer. But if you know that you didn't do this crime, and you 100% you didn't do this crime had nothing to do with you, you had nothing to do with this crime, I don't care if you innocent, get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. A lawyer would be a big difference. Now, if you so happen to be up in there and you're going through it, best example is do not stop fighting, because the day you stop fighting is the day that they win, and then you only doing what they want you to do. So you have to piss them off to keep fighting, Keep fighting, because eventually they gonna get tired before you. And always remember, whatever's in the dark gonna come out in the light.
Yeah. On that note, Marcellous, I'd like to thank you again. I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience and share your story with the viewers and the listeners. Again, thank you.
No problem.